All right, everybody. Unhappy Friday. Coming to you live once again from my humble, and I guess at this point in the evening, argumentative abode here in Fairfield, Ohio. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family. Thank you for joining us from wherever you may be and whatever service you're using to tune in. So please, pull up a chair, turn up the volume, crack open a cold one if you got the opportunity. Hopefully you are not still stuck at work at this hour on a Friday. And let's try to have a little bit of fun as we put an end to this week's hostage situation and look forward to another almighty weekend. How the hell are all of you? Russ Taylor in the room says, "What's up, bitches? How you doing?" Yes, sir. Someone did have a birthday. One more trip around the sun. And Keenan Harmon in the room as well. Alexa, play Unhappy Gilmore on YouTube. Nice. Yeah, did have a birthday on Tuesday. So for all of you out there who commented, sent me text messages, called, whatever, just another big thank you to all of you. I did, everybody, you always put out the post afterwards, thank you to everyone who did this, that, and the other. But for everyone who did post on my Facebook or whatever, I did try to make sure that I responded to each. I think I did respond to each and every single one. If I missed one, I am sorry. It was not intentional. So what else is going on here? Russ Taylor. Nope, I'm walking inside and out. I got wings in the smoker. My man. There you go. Now that sounds like a Friday night right there. So another week goes down. We are now 6 days away from the NFL draft. We're going to do we'll talk about where we think the birds might go with pick number 22. We'll do that in our last kind of little segment before we close out the night. But let's get right down to business to start off with. Folks, if you're tuning in on Facebook or Twitter, and yes, I did say Facebook because we are back up and running, please do not forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Green Legion. If those services are where you're more comfortable, we totally understand. But the YouTube channel, as any of the folks in the room, our usual suspects in the room will tell you, the YouTube channel is the best way to view, listen, comment whenever we go live with our streaming service. So please do us a solid, even if you're more comfortable on Facebook, on Twitter. Go ahead over to YouTube, search the Green Legion, subscribe, hit your little bell for notifications, and whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever service you're on, make sure you are sharing that everywhere. We want to flood all of the interwebs with the Green Legion. Let's see. I suppose we can get right to it here. Green Legion travel packages. You see the banner at the bottom of the screen. Trips.greenlegion.com. Never too early. And we are taking early bird deposits for all 2024 invasions this year. But prior to that, we do have June 3rd through June 10th. That is the Green Legion and Phil's Fever invade London. Trips.greenlegion.com. Keep in mind, folks, the Green Legion, the only Philly sports experience company that successfully traveled 1,846 people to London and back. Everybody got home. So if you're looking to take a trip across, you want to go see your Phils play over in London, trips.greenlegion.com. Get signed up. Green Legion invades Baltimore in the Inner Harbor, June 14th through June 16th. Again, right here at the bottom of your screen. There it is right there. Trips.greenlegion.com. The one that I would definitely do if I was able to do so, and it's the 4th of July weekend, so we always do family stuff. We'll cook out and hang out at the pool and cornhole boards and have fun with that. Hopefully the weather's nice, of course. But if I were to step out, if we were to look for an adult trip on the 4th of July weekend, Green Legion invades Chicago for Phillies at Cubs, July 3rd through July 6th, 4th of July weekend in Chicago, in Wrigleyville, Phils versus Cubs. For all of you that are Phils fans, I can't imagine a better baseball trip to take than going Green Legion to Chicago 4th of July weekend. Again, bottom of your screen, trips.greenlegion.com. Get signed up. Of course, still taking people for Brazil, first game of the year. That one's got me a little pissed off now. I'm thrilled for Green Legion purposes that they get the Brazil trip. A great way to get more Green Legion following and all of that goes into that. I'm pissed at the streaming service portion of it. It's going to be a Friday night. It's the season opener. And unless you have Peacock or you go to the game, you're not going to get to watch it. Streaming on Peacock only. Now, I don't know what that means for the local Philly area and the local Green Bay area. If the local channels will pick that up. But for everyone else, everywhere else, it's Peacock or bust. And, for guys like me, and I know a bunch of others that are scattered around the country that have Eagles groups, fan groups that we've started, that we've put in all of our time and effort into. It's the first game of the year on a Friday night in September, and it's going to be warm still here anyways. And people are going to come out, man. I mean, you talk about like, okay, can we plug a Roku stick into a TV at the back porch? Yeah, sure, but that's one TV. I mean, you think we're only going to have 20 people out to watch the first game of the year on a Friday night? You're out of your mind. So we're going to have to get creative out here, as I'm sure birds groups across the country are going to have to get creative. I'm kicking around a few ideas. But be that as it may, if you were looking to take a trip to Brazil and you wanted to, and you're looking for an excuse to go and also go see the birds play, hey, Green Legion is always the way to go. Unquestioned, the best in the business. And as I said from the top, early bird RSVPs for all away trips, invasions for the upcoming 2024 season. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Dallas, New York, and Washington. Okay, so Baltimore, New York, and Washington will all be bus trips. Here to Cincinnati, probably be a smaller trip, but you get to see me in person if you haven't before. And if you're looking to check all the stadiums off your list, come on out. Check out the birds out here in Cincy. Stadium sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. Paul Brown or Paycor Field or whatever the balls it's named now, it's just not a good looking. For as much money as the city had to pay for this, they should really be disappointed. And I know a lot of people who are. So, but if you want to see them all, you got to check this one off your list too, and get to come out, crack a beer with Unhappy Gilmore, and try to make the most of the weekend, right? I hope to see some of you out here. Look, especially if the Cincinnati game is in September, which is what we're all hoping for. Maybe early October. Anywhere past that, the weather starts to turn. It gets wet season. It gets colder. But September into early October, the weather's really not bad here at all. The humidity's kind of blown out of here for the most part, and it's usually dry, and it's a small city. There's not a ton to do, but when it's warmer like that, there is at least some other stuff to do. We do have a number of decent steakhouses here. I know Captain Dempsey and I spoke when he saw the picture of my pizza for my birthday dinner. He was he's saying that I mentioned the steakhouses. He goes, that pizza or bust. So, Cap, I saw you're in the room here. Thank you for, where is he here? Just saw him pop in a few minutes ago. There he is. Happy Friday, sir. Happy Friday to you, sir. Yeah, Cap, I will figure out a way to make that happen and get the pizza down to us when we're here in Cincinnati. Andy Begley in the room as well. Good evening, roomies. Happy Friday. Let's go Sixers and let's go Phillies. I will not say let's go Sixers. For obvious reasons, but we don't have to talk about that till next week. But yeah, the other trip that we're looking to go on is New Orleans. So we are 100% hoping for New Orleans in maybe early November, and the Cincinnati game here in September, maybe to early October. That's what we're hoping for. So for those of you who may be listening who don't know about, and guys, all of you that are regulars here, I'm sorry going over this every week, but I feel like it's important. For those of you who don't know how the early bird deposits work with us with the Green Legion, $150 a person. Say you were looking to go to New Orleans, like Michelle and I are. $150 a person to hold your deposit. That is, and then the schedule comes out early May. Now, if the schedule comes out and let's say that New Orleans game is all of a sudden Thanksgiving weekend and you can't go, we wouldn't be able to either. What we can do, and any of you can, is you can shift your deposit to a different game that may work for you, different week. Or you can get a full refund. Only for a certain amount of time, though, and you're going to have to go to the website, trips.greenlegion.com. I'll make sure I add it as part of my notes for next week. I forget when that cutoff is for the return on the deposit and to transfer it to another trip. They can't just hold it forever, right? So sooner or later, you got to make a decision. But it does work to your favor. You have to, and it's $150 a person to hold your spot. If you're in the local Philadelphia area, you have the option to pick up flight options with the Green Legion as well. For us out here in Cincinnati or, anywhere else across the country, you're going to travel there by your own means. So you're looking at strictly the hotel, the package price minus airfare. So that's the way that works. Any of my folks here in Cincinnati got any questions on that, please do not hesitate to let me know. For you folks here in Cincinnati, looking at when the Eagles come here, you do not want to put an early bird deposit in for the Cincinnati game, okay? Unless you want to book the hotel downtown and everything, which you live here, so I don't know why you would. But if you want to, by all means. But for most of us, we're just game day options only, which is your pep rally the night before, the tailgate day of the game, and of course your game ticket. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. I do not ask for anything in return from any of you here, my Midwest Eagles nest. The only thing I am going to ask you for is that you, at minimum, do the tailgate with the Green Legion. Okay, come on out, help me show a good, strong showing here in Cincinnati, as I know you all will. And I've made an upgrade to the game day attire for this year, which I am not going to show any of you. You're going to have to come out week one to see just how ridiculous old unhappy Gilmore here can get trying to rile up the crowd. So that's how that works. Who else do we got in the room here? Lou Mancini. Pizza was legit. Yeah, dude. Place is called Fratelli's. It's the next town over in Westchester, on the other side of Westchester. I found it about 6 months after I moved here. One of the first things I did was, try to find, at least somewhat decent food. Italian food can be difficult here, as I'm sure none of you are surprised. Pizza was also difficult. They like this stuff called La Rosas out here, which I think is absolutely disgusting. There's a sandwich on their menu that's not bad, but their pizza I find to be absolutely just gross. Their crust is like doughy and it's nasty, dude. But Fratelli's, found them about 6 months after I moved here, and that guy's, I think, from Jersey. I forget North or South Jersey, but he makes real deal New York style pizza. The pies are huge, thin crust, sauce is good, and they make up to an extra large pie. The extra large you have to dine in, though. You have to eat it there because they just don't have boxes big enough to transport the damn thing. So, it was good. Russ Taylor says we have a beautiful train station. All right. If you were going to come here and you were looking for things to do, there is an Underground Railroad Museum here. There's a Cincinnati Arts Museum that's not bad. Other than that, the downtown area, there's always something going on as long as the weather stays warm. Once it gets cold, this area, it does kind of shut down. It becomes difficult to find much to do here. It's not a big city. There is an area called Over the Rhine, which when I first moved here, you would not be walking around in. But they've cleaned up a portion of it. Made some, there's a couple of breweries right in the area. There's a couple of restaurants right in that strip. And I do believe for a short stretch, you are allowed to walk around on the sidewalk open container. So, if you are coming out, that's one area you want to check out. One of the restaurants is called the Eagle. Some of the best fried chicken I think I've ever had in my life. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there's some stuff here. It's just, it's a small city. So good steakhouses. There's a casino right downtown for all you degenerates coming out. You can have a good time there. But other than that, you're right down in the the hotel will be right in the middle of downtown. The tailgate should be right down on the banks right there, which is the strip in between Great American Ballpark where the Reds play and Paycor Field where the Bungaloids play. Our tailgate will be right down in there. I did get contact information for Quimby and Steph to get that set up. I was pretty proud of that accomplishment. I had to phone a friend, call in a favor to get the ball rolling on that, but hopefully we're moving in the right direction there. All right. Let's see. Who else is in the room here? Boy, you guys are going off. You guys are lively tonight. I love it. Happy Friday, sir. It's on in Philly and Green Bay. Yep. Mike English, everyone still has Peacock from WrestleMania. I kept it. I got it for the playoff game last year was Houston and Cleveland. And I never turned it off because I had a feeling some stuff like this was going to happen and I wanted to have the option. So, beautiful train station. Lou Mancini says Muffaletta is a must-have in New Orleans. That's what I hear. Looking forward to that. I really hope we're able to go. So that really hoping the dates work out for that. Keenan Harmon says New Orleans on his birthday would be outstanding. Well, what is the exact date of that, Keenan? Let me know so I can hopefully that date works for us too, and I can just root for that with you. Eagles at Tampa again. Clearwater Beach memorized. Yeah, beautiful down there, but we've already been there, and we are using Green Legion trips as our adult trip. But I'm also trying to see every stadium too. So just that's a personal thing with me. I'm obviously not doing that with my sons. The baseball stuff I do with my boys, but I'm also trying to see every football stadium too. And if I can get to New Orleans this year, that would get me to 13 or 14 overall. So we're getting there. We were getting there. Fanny's in the room. Hey, cool kids. How you doing, darling? Fanny says, I'll be in Cincinnati. What's the date? Okay. So Fanny, that's what we don't know yet. We know who the Eagles are playing. We know where the Eagles are playing these teams. We just don't know the dates yet. So the schedule release, if I had to guess, I am guessing we're probably looking at May 8th or 9th for schedule release, but you will start seeing some games get leaked out before that. Philadelphia at Cincinnati might be one of the games that gets leaked when you think about, we were just in the Super Bowl, 2 seasons ago. Retooled the coaching staff, added some more talent, looking to make another run. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, hopefully he's back healthy. They could be making a run as well. That might be a big key game. We don't want that game on a Thursday night. We want it on a Sunday, but I have a feeling it's going to be a primetime matchup or at worst, at best, 4 p.m. Here at Cincy. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Fanny, we don't know the date yet. We'll know in the next few weeks. Andy Bagley fills up 3-0. All right, there you go. Russ Taylor, I have a fear of turkeys falling from the sky in Cincinnati. It's more like flying pigs. It's the thing here. Cincinnati actually used to be called, one of its nicknames is Porkopolis. I guess it was big for pig farming coming through here at some point in its history. I have no idea. Fanny says she has Peacock because of Dateline. Joseph Kozak. Hey, there he is. Anybody getting together for the Bengals-Eagles game at the game itself? Yes, Joseph. So I don't know if you just joined. Pay attention to my posts in the Midwest Eagles Nest group page, buddy. So we will have game day options through the Green Legion, but they won't be available till later this summer, right? Because us living here, we're not going to book the full trip, hotel, and all that stuff, right? You're looking for game day stuff, tailgate, game ticket. So that will become available later this summer, and I will put it in our group the minute it becomes available. That much I can promise you. All right. And that's the only thing I'm ever going to ask you guys to do is to just come out and show support for the Green Legion when we come here to Cincy for the game. Mike English, Porkopolis is my screen name on internet dating. Deb Kurtz, how you doing, darling? There will be a crew of legends in Cincinnati. Absolutely cannot wait to see all of you. Should be a good time. All right. Let's move past that. You see, I got a new water bottle, and it's enormous. My daughter picked it out. This was in a basket of stuff that they got for me for my birthday. There was like a bag of Doritos with the salsa, the queso dip, which I love. This thing, and like a box of Mike and Ike's and stuff. It is fun stuff, you know. But here, hold on just a second. I'm going to show you something else I got for my birthday. Just hang on. Give me 1 second, guys and girls. So they come in with this basket into the bedroom. I was laying down. It's been a rough few weeks at work. So they come in with this basket. Happy birthday, Dad. And I get through the chips and the queso and everything. And at the bottom is a box. And I pick it up, and it looks like this. If any of you don't know, that is Pedro Serrano's locker from the movie Major League. And when you open it up, yeah, I got Joe Boo. So the picture I used to tease the show, that's actually this thing sitting on my shelf, right over here where I went and just picked it off of for you. Good times. Yeah, I had a good birthday, man. It was a good time. Yeah, don't drink his rum. Exactly. I think I'm gonna put a shot of rum in front of him. Just to have it there, a shot of something. All right. Joseph Kozak, thanks. And by the way, they're making a Happy Gilmore too. I don't know what to think about this, dude. You know, Adam Sandler, old man Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore at this point, it might be a little tough to take, but I'm going to go see it just because I'm a corny guy like that. I'm definitely going to go. Fanny, there has got to be a reason why Rodgers is not reinstated because he betted before the mid. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Okay. We are definitely going to get to that. Okay. So, boner of the week. One of my favorite things. And of course, the sports world never disappoints. Right? We could have shared the award this week, and we're going to kind of share the award this week, but the second part of it is going to lead us into the sports betting part that Fanny was alluding to. But for the initial purposes, we are going to stick to the WNBA. Imagine that, right? Only on the boner of the week portion of my show would you find something about the WNBA. And it's not to make fun of the young ladies. It's not. This is totally not that. But as if the Caitlin Clark hysteria wasn't already in overdrive, right? Like, is anybody else tired of it now? But as if that wasn't already enough, folks, let me introduce you to Greg Doyle, the former CBSSports.com college basketball writer who for some reason took that national job and left it and went to become a columnist with the Indianapolis Star newspaper. Anybody else find that strange? He's a national sports writer. He was named the country's top sports writer by the Associated Press 4 times. And he steps back to be a columnist at a small city newspaper. I think maybe there was some fishy shit going on there. Maybe he did something a little off. Well, despite the weird step back, it's pretty obvious that Doyle's he's pretty good at his job overall, right? He has since been named one of the 250 most influential business leaders in the state of Indiana. But apparently he's also a complete weirdo. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but on Wednesday, Caitlin Clark, who, unless you've been living under a rock, you know who Caitlin Clark is. She had her introductory press conference after being drafted number 1 overall by the WNBA's Indiana Fever. Doyle, obviously, he knows all these people, so he gets first, they usually call him for, the first question or whatever. He engaged in what has been described as an uncomfortable exchange with Clark. And I am going to play for you this exchange. So just give me a second here. We're going to bring it up. Share screen. Right there. Share. Bada bang. Okay. And
go first
boom.
Row on the right there for Greg.
Let's pull that back. All right. Here you go, folks.
Go first row on the right there for Greg.
Hi, Caitlin. Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
So he's making the heart.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine. So, question is, you didn't have to turn pro. I kind of thought you.
Did you hear him? So it starts out, he makes the little heart symbol to her that she does to her family after every game. And then creepy with the, I like that you're here. I like that you're here. And then she talks about doing this to her family. And he says, well, if you start doing that to me, we'll get along just fine. Bro, first of all, this is not your moment. Second of all, are you seriously trying to shoot your shot at this young lady while she's in her introductory press conference? Like, talk about creepy. You dirty old man. Here, listen again. Listen to him again.
Go first row on the right there for Greg.
Listen to this.
Hi, Caitlin. Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You weirdo.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine. So,
bro,
the question is, you
inappropriate. I mean, seriously, did you hear that? Ugh. I mean, look, Greg Doyle, let me look him up. I don't even know how old he is. I don't think he's a young man, though. Greg Doyle. No, he is not a young man. Greg Doyle is, I don't know. Doesn't say on his Wikipedia page. Greg Doyle is bald. I can tell you that. And Caitlin Clark is just out of college. Like I said, are you seriously trying to shoot your shot at this young lady? At her introductory press conference after turning pro? Dude, I mean, yeah, here's Russ Taylor, creepy. Keaton Harmon, flirty. Finney, no. Lou Mancini, put the lotion in the basket. Keenan Harmon, hey, little girl, you want some candy? Ugh. Andy Bagley, here it is. Can we all chip in and get Greg a lap dance? I mean, my God, dude. Look, I had another candidate picked out that was a slam dunk for the Boner of the Week award, and then I saw this. And I'm like, I can still use the other guy for some, for some more content. This has to be the Boner of the Week. I mean, are you serious? So you're either shooting your shot, or is this just you trying to put the shine on yourself? The one clip I couldn't find was the coach is there, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, and he asks her a question, and he starts with something along the lines of, how are you going to game plan now that you've been given the keys to that? And he says it like that, and he points at Caitlin Clark, that you've been given the keys to that. It's like, dude, you're either wildly fascinated, shooting your shot, or just trying to put the spotlight on yourself, and you've made a complete ass out of yourself. Now, he has since tried to, recant and apologize and everything. But good Lord, dude. Like, for a guy that has been that nationally prominent before, where he's been, what did I say it was? The 4 times the AP Sports Writer of the Year. No couth at all. I mean, credit to her. She handled it well. But you could even hear the reaction in the room when he says, you start doing that to me and we'll get along just fine. It was like shocked and or awkward laughter in the room. So credit to Caitlin Clark for handling it. Credit to the coach and everyone for handling it. But my God, dude, great work, douchebag. You definitely earned the Boner of the Week award for this week. What an absolute slob! It was too good not to do here. Russ Taylor says he had a boner when he said it. Fanny says tacky turkey. Russ Taylor fills up 6. So you guys are hitting the ball tonight. Good. Keenan Harmon, HR would have a field day with his ass. Andy Bagley, 40-year-old virgins part 2. It's more like 60-year-old virgins, dude. Holy cow. Yeah, that one was a little bit tough to get past. I had to listen to it a couple of times. Like, wow, you really did that, man? Like, no professionalism, nothing. Anyways. All right. So we are going to go ahead. And now that we're past the Boner of the Week, we're going to do as we do every week and go ahead and invite in anyone who would like to come share their thoughts, especially as we move into the next subject, which is going to have direct impact. It appears is going to have direct impact on our Philadelphia Eagles. And Fanny kind of alluded to this a few minutes ago when she mentioned Isaiah Rodgers, and we're going to get to that. But this subject, unfortunately, is going to continue to be a thing. And pro athletes and the gambling, and I want to start here by saying that I totally understand where some folks, and I'm sure some of you that I'm talking to right now, think it's very hypocritical to punish players when gambling is legal and the leagues are benefiting from sponsorship coming from a DraftKings or some sports book or whatever. I get it. I mean, could you imagine being Pete Rose right now? He's probably got to be losing his mind. But what I need you all to consider is what is the alternative to this, okay? If you do not punish these players, and they're getting punished and it's still happening, so what that tells me is the punishments are not severe enough. But what is the alternative if you don't punish? Do you really want these players to be able to go ahead and gamble on the sports they play in for or against the teams they play for without any repercussion? I mean, I can't imagine any of you would want that. Don't you think it would dramatically alter the outcome of the games if they were able to do so? It probably already has. We're already seeing it. I guess what I'm saying is if you don't punish them, you don't want them punished, and you don't think so, you just allow them to do this, and you don't think that the games are going to be altered, then again, I've got that bag of magic beans I can sell to you. Because if they're allowed to get away with it, it will continue to get the sports will lose all of its integrity entirely. The rules are simple for the players. They're very simple. And we'll take the NFL for an example. No gambling on any NFL games, period. No gambling on any sports at all while at a team facility, hotel, when you're on the road with your team. You are not allowed to have others place the bets for you. And no sharing any player, team, or league info with potential bettors and or bookmakers, etc. It's that simple. You want to be able to gamble on the sport? Well, don't play the sport. It really is that easy. And, those are the rules as they are with the NFL. I would imagine it's pretty much the same across the board for all major sports. So when a guy like Jonte Porter of the Toronto Raptors gets the lifetime ban hammer, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Now, I do wonder if the punishment would be the same had this been a superstar, but I don't feel bad for him. Okay, this is a guy who's made somewhere around $4 million in his career, and he risked it all on $20 million worth of, or $20,000 worth of bets. All right, I don't feel bad for you in that situation. Do I wonder if the treatment would be the same if this was LeBron James, Steph Curry? Sure, I wonder that, but that's not the situation we're in. All right, and then you're going to hear these people, well, they don't need it because they got all this money. Dude, this guy's made $3.5 to $4 million in his career. Okay. And he had to know he was not going to make superstar money in the first place. So just because you can't budget $4 million doesn't mean I have to feel bad for you when you go screw up the rest of your career for a $20,000 bet. I no sympathy whatsoever. That Cap, that's who I'm talking about. Jonte Porter of the Raptors is the basketball guy. Does a lifetime ban seem too harsh? Well, do you know all the details? Specifically, what the investigation revealed. Did you read on that before you want to say, God, that's really harsh? Jonte Porter, again, forward for the Toronto Raptors, has been given the lifetime ban hammer from the NBA. He was found to be guilty of disclosing confidential information to sports bettors, limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes, and betting on NBA games. And you don't think the lifetime ban is bad? They couldn't even prove all that with Pete Rose, and he got kicked out forever. And he's the all-time hit king. Jonte Porter ain't shit. His older brother's the one that's the superstar. Well, star. Jonte Porter's a journeyman NBA player. He's a fledgling. He's a bench guy. Still made $4 million, $3.5 to $4 million. You want me to feel bad for him? Not going to happen. So I ask again, would you rather that the players are able to do these things without repercussion? If you do, then I'm guessing you want the entire sports world to become like WWE wrestling, right? Which is fun to watch in its own right, but it's scripted, right? I worked security for one of the events when I was working in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the Harbor Yard Arena down there. We had our meeting in the stands. The wrestlers are in the ring choreographing their matches. We all know it's scripted, but it's fun because everyone understands that it's scripted, right? You know it. It's just fun. I don't want that from football, baseball, basketball, hockey. I don't want that. I want to watch sports for the sport. And if you allow these guys to do these things without repercussion, it's going to destroy all of that. All right? Take a look at our own backyard, as Fanny mentioned earlier with Isaiah Rodgers. Yesterday, NFL reinstated 5 players who were suspended for their gambling antics. Isaiah Rodgers was not one of them. Sounds shitty, right? A lot of posts out there about how the league hates us. Roger Goodell hates the Eagles. So on and so forth. Everyone wants to cry and cry and cry. Well, there's a problem with that, too. Let's take a look at what he did by his own admission. More than 100 bets placed on his gambling account were supposedly on behalf of friends and family in Florida, where sports betting was not even legal yet at the time. Most bets between 25 and 50 bucks. Doesn't seem too bad, right? Until you take 50 of them. Now it's $5,000. Now consider that these wagers included wagers related to Colts games. Remember, that's who Rodgers was with, was the Indianapolis Colts. Wagers related to Colts games, one of which was Jonathan Taylor's over-under rushing yards. Look, if the NFL wants to say they're keeping Rodgers out longer because his offenses were more egregious, I can buy that. Okay? However, if they're doing it because they've since revised their rules to a 2-year suspension if a player bets on a game involving his team, then I have a problem with it because the rule was 1 year at the time when Rodgers was caught. What they don't get to do, they do not get to say, well, he made these bets for people, in Florida when he was in Florida and it wasn't legal there yet at the time, and then come back and say, well, we're going to up his suspension to 2 years because we've revised the rules to that, even though the suspension was only 1 year at the time of his offense. That's a double standard. You don't get to do that. That's not fair. You got to be fair. But let's not act like it wasn't egregious. And he admitted it. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with Rodgers. Now, I was kind of banking on him being part of the rotation at the corner position, as I'm sure all of you were, as I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles were. Now it looks like we may have to shift gears again. But keeping on topic here, this stuff is going to continue to happen, all right, unless the leagues do hand out more harsh penalties, which is what you're seeing now possibly with Rodgers, what you saw with Jonte Porter in the NBA where they gave him the lifetime ban. It's going to have to be detrimental to stop this from happening. And Fanny, we don't know that. She says, my point exactly. NFL changed to suit their mood. We don't know that. We know they changed the rule. We don't know that they're holding out Rodgers specifically for said rule change. Okay. They could just be holding him out because he was more egregious. Again, if they're holding him out because they changed the rule after the fact, then it's a problem. It's a double standard and it's bullshit. But if they're just saying we're holding him out for another year because we're holding him out for the first 4 games of this upcoming season, because his offense was more egregious than the other guys, I don't have a problem with that. I don't. And I'm not going to sit here and cry foul just because he's a member of the team. I won't do that. These guys broke very simple rules and he went overboard with it. I don't want to hear the double standard from the NFL, but at the same time, I don't want to see these guys getting away with this. I really don't. They need to be punished more harsh, or it's going to continue to happen. I know for me, I don't want players gambling on their respective sports in any way, shape, or form. I am not personally a big gambler, okay? I will place, little prop bets here and there, or your occasional 15-leg parlay where $10 can win me like $5,000 or something crazy just to make it fun. But apart from that, I watch sports because I love the games, and anything that may tarnish it can go outside and just screw off into the sunset. I don't care who it is or what team they play for. If it's detrimental to one of my favorite teams, then so be it. I'll hear none of it. You got to be consistent. You got to be fair. If one of the players on my team, God forbid, Jalen Hurts, it broke that he did something like this, you'd all scream and yell foul. If it came out that he actually did it, then he's got to pay the price, and that's the way it is. Everyone's got to be treated the same exact way. All right, who's jumping in? We're gonna get to some draft here. What did I miss over here before we move on to the draft and then we get out of here for the night? Captain Demps, gambling messes up script. Players gambling. Keenan Harmon, you should only be allowed to bet on your team to win and cover the spread. And Dave Conant, Shohei already told you baseball has different standards based on it being a star. Baseball's in a different spot, Dave, and you know that. Baseball cannot afford to lose Shohei Ohtani. I'm not saying it's right, but they found a way to make a fall guy out of it, and that's what's going to stick. So I'm not saying I like it, but there you go. Andy Bagley, another news, Sixers getting 3 points versus Knicks in game 1. That seems light considering it's at the Garden, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know Embiid looked really good. Look, I watched almost that entire Heat Sixers game. Well, a lot of it anyways. Most of this, the entire second half. let me get more accurate here, trying to remember my evening. The entire second half, I pretty much watched all of that. Especially that fourth quarter was very entertaining. And look, Embiid did not look good overall that night. What he did do was he came up huge in moments in that fourth quarter. A couple of big three-pointers, a couple of defensive plays. You know, he came up big late in big spots. But you are going to need more from him to beat the Knicks, especially at the Garden. You're going to need him to be Embiid, the MVP version, all the way through. All right. Fanny says, I want to, but I'm eating Chipotle. Hey, I got you there. Again, who would you pick, McKinstry or Arnold, even though you don't like Alabama? It's not that I don't like Alabama. I'm a Penn State. I mean, I respect Alabama football. All right. I mean, do I have some Bama fatigue? Yeah. But it's not like I hate them. It's not a hate thing. It's a fatigue thing with them. But I do respect the program and all the players that come through it. And once they get to the NFL, all bets are off, right? Like, look, Saquon Barkley, probably my favorite player out of Penn State, and he went to the Giants. You know, I can't root for him. You know, now I can, but when he's on the Giants, I couldn't. But anyways, all right. Time to get to some draft talk and then get out of here for the night. We took a look at the top 10 last week. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the crazy rumors circling the top 10 in the draft and the trades that may or may not happen. There's a lot of talk about the Giants trying to move up to the number 4 pick to take a quarterback, despite the fact that they are sitting on $47.1 million in cap hit to Daniel Jones. Those rumors don't just come from nowhere. And I think, you know, they've got the draft capital to do it. Moving up to the 4 spot and ending up with a J.J. McCarthy. My thing is, if you don't end up in the top 3, I think there's a significant drop-off after those 3. I'm not even all that sold on Drake May. I don't like quarterbacks from basketball colleges. Okay? The Giants, look at Daniel Jones. He went to Duke. He stinks. Okay? Mitchell Trubisky went to North Carolina. He stinks. All right? Like, maybe Drake May breaks that mold, but until I see it, I ain't going to believe it, man. So, you know, Caleb Williams is obviously going to the Bears. It looks like the Commodes are going to take Jaden Daniels, number 2 overall. And then you have the Pats sitting there at 3. They need a quarterback desperately. It's a matter of who they value more. Is it McCarthy, who somehow has improved his draft stock without doing much of anything? I don't know. But we're going to keep it to the birds for tonight. All right? We'll worry about the rest of the draft next week. We picked 22nd overall, as you know. And early on, I think the early part of March, we talked about where the Eagles might go. And we looked at corner, right? An area that got exposed pretty bad last year. And we took a look at 3 of the bigger names. In Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, who just had a huge pro day. That's, I forget, is it Russ or is it Keenan that calls him that mustard-colored kid? And we also looked at the tandem coming out of Bama in Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. We left out Toledo corner Quinion Mitchell, who is the consensus best corner in the draft. There's no way he slides all the way down to 22. We would have to trade up and trade way up to get him, and I just don't think you're going to do that for a corner. Not when there's other guys there. And look, I understand that, Quinion Mitchell, he may very well be as advertised. He may very well be a shutdown corner in the league for 10 years. But he comes out of Toledo University. So he's not facing NFL talent on a week in, week out basis. I would rather take a guy out of Bama who plays in the SEC, who is facing top flight talent every single week, and see what I can get from there. And joining us, defending freedom. What's up, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good, but how do I turn this thing off? I still hear the show. I messed this up the last time.
You got the other page. You got
Yeah.
2 pages open.
So
You
how
got
do
to
I
figure out
close
how to
one?
close the back.
All right,
Either
just-
close it or turn the volume down. Oh, and we lost him. He's gonna. I'm sure Cap will be back. I'm sure he wants to give us a little insight of what he thinks the Eagles are going to do. I know Fanny's a big fan of me speaking anything highly about a corner out of Alabama. She is our resident Roll Tide Roll fan here. But yeah, I first round, I want to see talent out of the SEC. I want to take talent out of the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, what was the Pac-12, your power conferences that have played against NFL level talent week in and week out, preferably the SEC or the Big 10. Would be really the way I would rather go. We've also got to consider that there's quite a bit of money tied up in the cornerback room, which is somewhat crowded too. You got Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, Job, Ricks, and Ringo all there. Is there room? Now, look, Slay and Bradbury are both over 30. So there is going to have to be we're going to have to they're going to have to be replaced. Now, are Ricks and Ringo those guys? We don't know. But then couple that. So, yeah, kind of crowded room. Are we sure about these guys? But now we just found out that we may not have Isaiah Rodgers. I was factoring Isaiah Rodgers into the corner mix when I started thinking, you know what? Maybe the 22, we're not going corner. But now Rodgers is out of the mix. Well, at least for now, anyways. So maybe that brings corner back to the forefront. I don't know. You know how Howie likes to do. He also likes to trade up in the first round. He likes to get cute. So we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at some of the mock drafts and where people are expecting us to go. They're pretty much expecting us to go where we've all talked about, either the corner spot or somewhere in the trenches. And most of them have it on the defensive line side, not the offensive line, which was a little bit surprising. Maybe because a lot of these mock drafts have really the more prominent first round talent going earlier in the first round. Yeah, Cap, I get it. He's drafted an offensive lineman, but not if it's a reach. You're not going to do that if it's a reach. Get back in here already, will you? Come on, analog man. Let's go. Anyways, don't get me wrong. You'll never hear me complain about a pick in the trenches. Okay? Unless it's a reach or a first-round pick used on a guy from a lesser conference. Okay? And I'm going to keep harping on that. This is an area. Let me turn my little page here. This is an area where Quimby and I see things very, very much the same way. I said it a few minutes ago. I want to see picks. You want to take a flyer on a guy out of a D2 school or a MAC school or whatever, the Ivy League. You want to take somebody from the friggin' Citadel. Do that late in the draft. First round, second round, third round. I want these guys from power conferences who have played against NFL talent week in and week out. Most of all, don't reach, okay? Best player available at a position of need. And if it's not there, if he's not on your board that high, the guy you want to go and trade back and get more assets. When we looked at corner, you guys already know where I wanted to go. I love the I love the marketability idea of a guy like DeQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry playing in Philadelphia. I mean, I just think it's fun. So before we get to these mock things here, I'm going to hop over to the room here and just see what you guys are talking about. Terry and Arnold. There's Cap, analog man in a digital world. Dave Conner, your whole defense is from the SEC, specifically Georgia. What? I can see Cap laughing already. All right, brother.
Oh man, I had to go to Facebook and click from there, and it went to the browser. Man, I do not do technology. Summer will tell you, man. Between her and my nieces and nephews, it's a wonder, and nothing ever gets done myself. How are you, my friend?
All right, how you doing, man?
I can't complain. Just wanted to
Yeah.
say, hey, I love what you do.
I appreciate the support, my friend, always. So
Uh,
you thinking offensive line, or are you doing that just to mess with me?
Oh no, I know Howie Roseman. Howie, that's what he does. He's going to draft an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. So maybe in rounds 3 or 4, he'll find the cornerback we need.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of good corner talent in that first round, though, man. Between Cooper DeJean, the two
Yeah.
kids out of Alabama.
Yeah. What was the last time? Was that Goblin?
Who's that?
What was that? The Green Goblin? The last time we took a corner high?
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, it's been
not
a minute. So.
It's been a minute, and Slay and Bradbury are both over 30. I mean, you do have Rich and Ringo sitting there, but
yeah,
are they the answer? It doesn't look like we're going to have Isaiah Rodgers back, which sucks.
He must have been doing some serious gambling.
Yeah, it looks like he went a little too far. I was reading up on it today. Yeah.
But hey, QB1 looks good.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying he was locked in last night. He's talking about the new thing this year. They're talking about the collective. So everyone's talking about how the team, what they're doing to improve the team, the collective. The hell with your individual goals. It's about the collective. So it'll be interesting if we hear other people echo that. But going into OTAs, that's what he said the thing is.
So that's the march, the collective.
Yeah.
Was he his usual stoic?
Yes.
Unemotional self.
And he said, but it was awesome though. He said, look, they asked him about what's the best thing about Philly and what's the worst thing about Philly, and they're all about 4 or 5 rows, and they asked him the worst thing first. And I said, well, you kidding, the fans, and everybody laughed and he didn't say anything. And he says, look, I've been in tough places, been in Alabama, I've been in the spotlight all my life, but you can't tell if I'm happy or sad. So it's fun. And he got a big laugh out of that. So
it's true.
He knows his shtick and he's comfortable with it. So
all right. Well, hey, whatever works for him, right?
It was definitely a good time. Saw Hollis and Jason Avant. He's got the beard now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time.
Good, man. Good. It looked like fun. I saw the picture of you and Dom, and so I'm like, geez.
Yeah, he took like 4 pics with Summer, and I was like, bro, ease up, you're good. Yeah, it was she didn't post them all. Like the first ones are like regular, and then like by the 4th one, he's all hugged up. He's it's like, all right, get your own. So
that's what I said. If anybody didn't see his pictures last night, the picture of him and Big Dom, that's what I commented. I said there is no safer place on the planet.
Yeah,
now.
that was in the group. It's definitely a good time though. So
yeah, it looked like a good time, man. That looked like a pretty cool experience. So is that season ticket holder thing?
Well, I was there to have the season ticket member advisory board first, and then that's how I went. But apparently, they had X number. There was probably about 40 other season ticket members there.
Okay.
So I don't know how maybe they sent something out. I didn't get anything. I went because I was already at the season ticket member advisory board meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Trying to pull off more good things for the season ticket holders.
Yeah, well, I got in their ass about the crappy gifts that they get. This is
I
my
remember that
third
last
meeting.
season.
Yeah, and I told them, I was like, look, I go to all these stadiums. People give up good stuff. The Giants, they give 80,000 people T-shirts that say Giants Eagles November 9th, blah blah blah. Like that's something. You're a 14-year-old kid. You walk away, you still have that.
Oh, yeah.
The Seahawks gave out a blanket. The Chiefs gave out a knit hat. You got that. And, Tampa gave out a little
Yeah, the bag. It was the little
yeah,
bag.
like,
yeah.
and then they tried to hit me with, well, those are corporate sponsors. Well, we don't give a shit who pays for it.
Right.
Just make it
Not our
happen.
problem.
Right. And hello, you're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You're gonna be cheap on a little tchotchke for fans?
Yeah,
Come on.
seriously. Trying to tell me that the NFL prints its own money. Don't tell me you can't afford it.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Get outta here.
So that's the
I-
thing. But they're coming out with a season ticket member hat and trying to get gifts for all the seats. So I have 4 seats, but I get 1 gift. That's insane.
Come on, man. You gotta do a little better than that.
Exactly. So, but other people made that point, not me. So
Deb says that bag from Tampa Bay was
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, my wife
Yeah.
grabbed one too. They
yeah.
tried to give one to me. I'm like, get that fucking thing out here. The
Dude,
Buccaneers
I have
flag on
I
it.
have 2 boxes of that stuff.
Just from all over the place.
Yeah. So I heard you're at 15 or 14. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, we're. I think it's 14. I have to go look at it. I keep
Yeah.
everything in like Samsung notes because I can't remember shit anymore.
Yeah. You'll remember your last one. So I finished in 19. Buffalo was the
Yeah.
last one. So
Yeah,
good time.
we're hoping to check New Orleans off the list this year.
It used to be my favorite trip before they won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Then they
Yeah, but I've
became
never been to New
a-holes.
Orleans, so
Oh,
we're
it's a
trying to.
Food coma. Start your workout now.
But it's funny. So I've got my oldest is going into basic next year.
That's awesome. I'm happy
For the
for him.
Army, and
Yeah.
then my middle just started practices for the freshman football team.
Yeah.
So both of them are all about working out and stuff now. So they dragged me to get a gym membership. So now I've been going this past week, and I can't lift my arm past here because it's been quite a while since
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you out there have seen me up close. I'm not exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, don't let them drag you in that. Stay in your elderly lane. Do a little bit.
no, I don't mess with. No, I'm talking low weight. Just I was up there doing the thing with the stomach crunches, so I had the thing back here, and I'm pulling forward like that, and it actually started to force. I started burping, started forcing out gas. I don't know how long that gas has been in there, but it started to force it out. And I looked at Gritty. I'm like, "We got to go." He's why I said, "Because sooner or later the gas could come out the other end."
The other end.
I don't want to be in public when that happens.
Right. Dude, that's it. Well, they're great. They're great boys. It was good seeing them, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
That was a
Cap.
whirlwind tour you had there.
We did. We hit a lot in just a short period, and we had to contend with some crappy weather too.
Yeah.
The rain on and off like that, it made it difficult. But getting to do the outdoor mall at night, that was huge. Knock all
That's the way
that
to
out,
do
and
it.
that's definitely the way to do it. That World War II memorial, especially at night,
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. I told them all, I said we could go back for another 5 days and be full of stuff already, stuff we didn't see.
Yeah, and all that stuff was free.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only attraction that I paid for was the freaking baseball game. Yeah,
And that should have been free.
Well, I don't know. It was what it was. I didn't pay much. I didn't pay much for the tickets, so it wasn't that bad. But I did walking around that ballpark feel like I was in a minor league stadium.
Man, it's cozy.
It is small. Yeah.
Man.
So I looked at what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sites that did mock drafts
Yeah. You're gonna have to talk to professionals on this, brother. I got
Yeah.
nothing.
You got it's all edge, defensive line, and corner. I was
Right.
surprised nobody had an offensive lineman, and I'm guessing it's because they're all assuming the big time first round offensive linemen are going to be off the board before the pick comes.
Okay, that's
So
likely.
yeah, one guy had one Pro Football Focus, their most recent one, had us trading the 22nd and 53rd overall to Seattle for picks 116 and 118, and then taking Fanny's guy, Terry and Arnold, out of the corner out of Bama at number 16. I mean, he's been known to fart around the first round, move up and down. I don't know that he would move up for a corner. I'm like you. I have a hard time believing he's going outside the trenches in the first round.
Right.
And the rest of these guys, I mean, Jared Verse from Florida State, 6'4", 254. He's an edge rusher. Latu from UCLA, 6'5", 259, another edge rusher. Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle from Illinois. I don't want to take anybody from Illinois. Illinois stunk. Like, I don't, 6'2", 304. How many more first round picks in a row are we going to use on defensive tackles? Right? We just used 2 top 10 picks in the last 2 years on defensive tackles. Can't keep going back to the well there. Then Fox Sports had us staying put and taking Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson. And are you trying to tell me that Terry and Arnold, Cooper DeJean, and Kool-Aid McQuincy are all going to be off the board by the time 22 comes around?
No, one of those guys will be there. If not,
I
both
think
of them.
so. Yeah. I like Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, man. I mean, I know it's not the SEC, but he's a bigger kid. He can play a little safety. He had a huge pro day. They were going to go corner, and he's sitting there. That might not be bad. I know Fanny wants us to be able to get that Terry and Arnold out of Bama. I don't know that he's going to be there. Uh-oh, there she is.
Say hi. Say hi. He doesn't have his son. So go at him. Say hey.
Hi, sweetie.
He said hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yes, how you doing? He said, how you doing?
You can't talk?
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. I was going to say, I know. I know you can talk.
She said, where's your son?
Where's he's in another room pouting because he can't have I think she just clicked the camera off of Cap. All right. We'll see if he hops back in or if he wants to call it a night. Fanny, again, Terry and Arnold will be there if we trade up for him. Yeah, I'd be careful. That corner room is deep, and to give up assets to go add another one, I don't know. I think they're both good. I do. I really think Terry and Arnold and Kool-Aid and McKinstry are both good, both definitely worthy of first-round pick, along with Cooper DeJean and, of course, Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. I just don't like the Toledo thing. I don't know. But I kind of skimmed through it because we were with Cap. So the Pro Football Focus had us trading up to take Terry and Arnold. 6 foot 196. Little description on him: smooth athlete, fluid hips and movement skills, has the twitch and explosiveness to drive out of breaks, able to quickly sink his hips with great reactionary quickness, and looks to run routes for receivers. Excuse me. Great top speed, easily able to run with receivers downfield with very good recovery speed, few receivers able to get behind him. High IQ player with the awareness and instincts to play in the run game, makes quick decisions and triggers downhill to the run. Quick to defeat blocks in space and shows to be a secure tackler in tight space. I mean, he's a Bama corner, right? I mean, I expect so. This, when they play LSU, he's against Malik Neighbors, who is the second best wide receiver in this draft. Would be easily the first wide receiver in this draft if there wasn't a young man out of Ohio State coming on by the name of Marvin Harrison Jr. Cap, all good, brother. All good. I know how it is. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. As always, love the support. Great talking to you. CBS Sports has us standing pat and taking Jared Verse, the edge rusher out of Florida State, who Dave Conant just a minute ago. Verse is a beast. Dave is a Florida State fan, so he would, he's well versed on Verse. 6'4", 254, talented edge defender with the field demeanor, athleticism, and skill set to rack up statistics in key categories fairly early in his NFL career. Verse dominated at Albany and then showed an ability to do the same at Florida State. Twitchy and compact with explosiveness featured at the point of attack and in his upfield burst as a pass rusher. Great with his hands, does a nice job of diagnosing plays quickly, staying out of the clinches of offensive linemen looking to snatch him up. Jesus. Ability to threaten the edge only bolsters his hellish speed to power bull rushing ability. He did run a 4.58 40-yard dash at 254 pounds. Keep that in mind. Speed to power bull rushing ability to run tackles deep into the pocket. He can play up or down and should be in consideration for all defensive schemes looking to add a safe, high-impact edge. Okay? Sounds pretty solid. Fanny, all right, dear. So is Dallas Turner another Alabama player? Because I'm going to tell you right now, while I do respect Alabama, not every player on their roster is the best at their position. Okay? So we're just going to let that go. Latu, another edge guy out of UCLA. When I looked at his combine stuff, not as impressive as Verse. So if they're both sitting there and edge is the way they want to go, I would take Verse. But they say Latu possesses the kind of rare maturity to his game that you usually see from NFL veterans. By the way, says NFL.com had us in a mock draft taking him. Rarely stays blocked by tackles as a run defender and dominates blocking tight ends on the collegiate level. Pass rush approach is both well conceived and instinctive. And he's brilliant at taking possession of the rep, using clever hands and slippery angles to pry open opportunities. That is a mouthful. His eyes play beyond blockers, and he feeds off a voracious motor that keeps him pushing forward as a defender, yada, yada, yada. So, look, UCLA, and I'm not trying to belittle the school or the talent that goes there, but let's be honest here. The Pac-12 is not known for its defense, okay? Wasn't known for its defense because we just saw the death of the Pac-12. And so to stand out as a defender in that conference, it's not saying as much as it does for a guy like Terry Arnold out of Alabama. So I would pass on Latu, to be honest with you. The Athletic, Jerzon Newton. This is the defensive tackle out of Illinois. I'm not impressed. I know I said SEC or Big Ten in the first round, but we just took Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter each of the last 2 seasons with top 10 picks. They're both defensive tackles. You want me to take another defensive tackle in the first round of a draft? Sorry, Athletic. I'm voting this one down. 6'2", 304. I'm sure he does a nice job, but I'm looking elsewhere. I'd go edge over defensive tackle at this point. Although you could make the argument we need depth there. It's just when you look at a first-round pick, even though it's 22nd, not 12th, I'm not thinking this is a depth pick. I want this guy to be a starter. So if we're looking at depth, give me the 3rd, 4th round here. Fox Sports, Nate Wiggins, corner out of Clemson. Look, if either of the Bama corners or Cooper DeJohn are still sitting there at pick 22, Nate Wiggins better not be our pick. Okay? That'll have me wanting to throw shit at my television. Combination of coverage talent and traits could make him a defensive coordinator's dream. He's tall, long, and fast with rare recovery speed when beaten. Yeah, well, he better be fast at 6'1", 173. Okay? Silky smooth lower body movement allows him to mirror releases and traces routes without much effort. He can squeeze a little tighter from off-man coverage, while his range as a cover 3 quarterback makes him a dangerous option to throw near. He plays with good recognition and elite burst to the throw, which could lead to Pro Bowl production if he can play with more consistent decisiveness. He needs to become a tougher player in run support and when contesting catches against NFL size. Wiggins' speed, scheme versatility, and playmaking instincts should make him the most sought-after corner in the draft. Bullshit. Okay? He's not the most sought-after corner in the draft. I'm sure he's a nice kid. I'm sure he's a good player. I'm sure he'll do fine. But if you want to tell me that that kid should be drafted over Arnold, McKinstry, or DeJohn, you're, again, the magic beans. Finally, we go back to NFL.com, but we go to Peter Schrager. He has us Cooper DeJohn at number 22. Now, I don't know if he slips down that far, especially after the pro day he just had. But going back to the stats I gave you a little over a month ago on him, 6 foot, 203 pounds. He's got starting experience at strong safety and corner. Explosive athlete, hitting markers in height, weight, and speed. Instinctive zone defender, ready to feast on quarterbacks with poor eye discipline. Keep that in mind. Instinctive zone defender. Okay? What does Vic Fangio's defense like to do? What do we like to do? We're going to play zone behind a front seven that's going to get after the quarterback. Ready to feast on quarterbacks with poor eye discipline. Also means poor decision making. So take a look at the quarterbacks in our division. Daniel Jones stinks. Can't read the field. Guy's awful. Right? The Commodes are going to have a rookie quarterback. Might be a very a very talented rookie quarterback, but a rookie quarterback just the same. He's going to make bad decisions. Okay? And then you go to Dallas. And while Dak can put up good numbers, when he gets pressured, he makes poor decisions too. Guy like Cooper, ball hawks, things like that. Tracks the pass and plays the entry point with big burst to close. Ball skills of a receiver, finishing with 7 career interceptions, 3 returned for touchdowns. Charges hard and slams into pass catchers. Can provide immediate help as a punt returner and gunner if called upon. Look, if any of the, I don't think you can go wrong with Terry and Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, or Cooper DeJohn. Okay? You want to tell me it should be one of the edge rushers? I could also add Chop Robinson in there out of Penn State. That kid's going to make an impact in the NFL as well. Or Cap may very well be right. How he goes offensive lineman. My only concern there is we're picking 22. So the top end tackles are going to be gone. So what are we really getting there? Or is Howie going to reach? I guess we'll have to wait another 6 days to find out. Back over to the room one more time before we call this a night. Sidney Brown is from Illinois, isn't he? Yes, he is. Terry and I will be able to trade up. And then Dave and Fanny go back and forth over the Bama goggles. I got to admit, does seem a little that way. But, hey, you're a fan. That's what it's all about. You support your team. Nothing wrong with that. Andy Bagley, something special going on at the bank. All right. We will keep that under wraps. Don't anybody say a thing. Yeah, and Fanny, I think Dallas Turner's a nice player, but this Verse kid is it was the edge rusher of Florida State. When Florida State's quarterback went down, Jordan Travis, they still won their next game. And in large part, that was due to the pressure they were putting on the opposing team's quarterback. And a lot of that came from this kid. So, I get that it's the ACC, it's Florida State, it's not SEC football, but, not every Bama player is better than everyone else in the country. And that's all I got for tonight, folks. Want to thank you all for coming in here. I want to thank everyone who wished me a happy birthday. I want to thank you again for that too. You're all the best by far. So for all of you in the room who commented, for all of you who did not, for Captain Demps for coming in and trying to give us a little bit of his time, but looked like Miss Naya had other plans. But I tell you, you know, you want to talk about a ball of energy. She really is just 1,000 miles an hour. And it is such a joy to be around. I got the pleasure of watching a couple of innings of a baseball game with that little young lady sitting right in front of me. And she is just absolutely fantastic. So keep up the good work down there, Captain Summer. You're doing a great job. Yeah, that's about all I got. So for everybody in the room, for everybody watching who didn't come on in and comment, that's okay too. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio, part of the Green Legion Radio family. Come on back again next week. Not sure if we're going to do Wednesday night before the draft or if we're going to go to Friday night and be on location at the back porch. So we're just going to have to wait and see how that works out. I'm trying to get a crew up to the porch next Friday night for rounds 2 and 3. Turnout not looking very good right now. People are working. People got other stuff going on. So we're just going to have to wait and see for that. But next week is draft week, and it is also the 2-year anniversary of this show. So for those of you who've been around since the start, thank you very much for that as well. And we will see you next week. Folks, be good, be safe, enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll be at the gym at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I'll be able to move my arms a little bit better by then. And then I'm home to take care of spring cleanup around the outside of the house. So big, fun, exciting weekend going on here. Grady's got prom. Yeah, that's about it. Be safe, be good, enjoy the weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Remember, the judge is not back in until Monday. And as always, folks, go Birds. All right, I can't take any more of that music. You guys take care. Be good. We love you.